I'm Emma. And this Thanksgiving I learned that being the family ATM comes with a price tag they weren't ready to pay. The text came through at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. My sister Ashley. Family meeting tomorrow. Important. Be there. No please. No explanation. Just a command. Like I was an employee getting summoned to HR. I stared at my phone screen in the darkness of my bedroom, that familiar knot forming in my stomach. The same knot I'd felt every time my phone buzzed with their names for the past 6 years. I should mention that I'm the middle child. Ashley is 3 years older, golden and perfect in my parents' eyes. Then there's me, and then Jake, 5 years younger, who somehow managed to fail upward his entire life while everyone applauded. The meeting was at Mom and Dad's house, the house I'd been paying the mortgage on for the last 6 years. The $2,100 monthly payment that came out of my account like clockwork on the first of every month. They'd refinanced it back in 2019 when Dad's construction business went under. Their credit was destroyed. Mine wasn't. Just until we get back on our feet, Mom had promised, gripping my hand across the kitchen table. Maybe a year, 2 tops. That was 73 payments ago. I'd counted. I'm a financial analyst at a consulting firm downtown. I make good money, enough to afford my own 1-bedroom apartment and still help family. But help had morphed into something else entirely. Something that felt less like generosity and more like a contract I'd never agreed to sign. The grocery bills. The utilities. Ashley's car payment when she temporarily lost her job at the salon. Jake's community college tuition that mysteriously never led to a degree. The property taxes. The homeowner's insurance. The emergency dental work. The emergency vet bills for a dog that wasn't even mine. The emergency everything, because with my family, every expense was an emergency, and I was the only solution. I drove to their house the next evening after work. The November air was already cold, promising an early winter. Leaves scattered across the driveway I'd paid to resurface last spring, after Dad hit a particularly bad pothole and cracked the foundation. Inside, they were all waiting. Mom and Dad on the couch. Ashley in Dad's recliner. Jake sprawling on the love seat like a teenager, even though he was 24. Emma's here, Ashley announced, not looking up from her phone. Can we start now? No hello. No hug. I hung my coat on the rack by the door and sat in the only remaining seat, a wooden dining chair someone had pulled in from the kitchen. Even in their house, there wasn't a comfortable spot saved for me. Mom cleared her throat. She had that look. The one that meant she was about to ask for something she knew I wouldn't want to give. So, Thanksgiving, she began. We need to talk about Thanksgiving. I waited. The holiday was 3 weeks away. Ashley and David are hosting this year, Mom continued. David was Ashley's fiancé, a decent guy who made good money in pharmaceutical sales. They just moved into their new place, and it's absolutely gorgeous. 5 bedrooms, can you believe it? Perfect for entertaining. I could believe it. I'd seen the Instagram posts, the marble countertops, the chandelier in the dining room, the backyard with the built-in pool. That's great, I said carefully. Ashley finally looked up from her phone. It is great, and we want to do it right, you know? Really make it special. Our first Thanksgiving as an engaged couple, in our first house together. Congratulations, I offered, though they'd been engaged for 8 months already. So here's the thing. Jake cut in, sitting up slightly. Ashley's been pricing out catering and decorations and stuff, and it's kind of expensive to do it properly. I felt my hands grip the armrests of the wooden chair. Mom jumped back in. We were thinking, since you're always so generous, and since you don't have a family of your own to spend money on, maybe you could help cover the costs? Ashley's thinking a catered dinner. Nothing too crazy. Maybe $4,000 for the food, another $1,000 for the decorator, some florals, a nice tablescape. Very elegant. Very grown-up. $5,000. For Thanksgiving dinner. I must have made a sound, because Dad spoke up for the first time. Emma, you know your mother and I would help if we could, but things are still tight, and Ashley and David just bought the house, so they're stretched thin. You understand, right? Ashley added. You're the only one in a position to do this, and it's family. It's not like we're asking you to pay for strangers. The room felt very small suddenly, very hot, Let me think about it, I heard myself say. Ashley's face hardened. Think about it? Emma, Thanksgiving is 3 weeks away. We need to book the caterer now. The good ones fill up fast. I need to look at my budget, I said, keeping my voice even. Your budget? Jake actually laughed. Come on, Em. You make 6 figures, you can afford it. Jake, Mom said, but it was a weak reprimand. She was looking at me with that expression I'd seen my whole life. Disappointment mixed with expectation. The look that said I was being difficult for no reason. I'll let you know by Friday, I said, standing up. My legs felt shaky. Where are you going? Ashley demanded. We're not done. Actually, Mom said slowly, and something in her tone made my stomach drop. There's one more thing. Emma, sit down. I remained standing. Mom exchanged a glance with Dad. He nodded slightly. The thing is, Mom continued, Ashley and David's place is, well, it's not very big. I know I said 5 bedrooms, but that includes David's office and the gym room and the guest suite. And with David's parents flying in from Ohio and his sister's family coming with their 3 kids plus all of us, it's going to be pretty packed. I knew what was coming. I could feel it like a storm rolling in. So we've all talked, Ashley said, her voice flat, matter of fact, and we think it would be better if you didn't come this year. The words hung in the air. For a moment, I wasn't sure I'd heard correctly. What? It's just logistics, Emma, Jake said quickly. Too many people. Not enough space. You understand. We're still family, Mom added. This doesn't change that. It's just one holiday. You'll come to Christmas, obviously. Obviously, I repeated. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. We knew you'd be cool about it, Ashley said, relief flooding her features. You're always so understanding. And honestly, you'll probably enjoy having a quiet day to yourself anyway. When's the last time you had a real break? Dad spoke again. So, about that catering money, Emma. Can we count on you? Ashley needs to put down a deposit. I looked at each of them in turn. My mother, who'd taught me to share my toys as a child but never taught my siblings the same lesson. My father, who'd once told me I was his rock, but never questioned why a rock should carry so much weight. Ashley, who'd been the pretty one, the social one, the one everyone liked, and who'd learned early that her charm could extract anything from anyone. And Jake, the baby, who'd never been asked to grow up because there was always someone else to pick up the slack. No, I said quietly. No? Ashley's head snapped up. No what? No, I'm not paying for your Thanksgiving dinner. The silence was deafening. Then Mom laughed. Actually laughed. Emma, don't be ridiculous. Of course you are. I'm not, I said, louder this time. I'm not paying for a dinner I'm not invited to. Oh my God, Ashley groaned. Are you seriously going to be petty about this? It's just seating arrangements, Emma. Grow up. Grow up? Something inside me cracked. I've been grown up. I've been paying your mortgage for 6 years. I've been covering your bills, your emergencies, your everything. And now you're uninviting me from Thanksgiving and still expecting me to pay for it? That's different, Mom said sharply. That's family helping family. This is you throwing a tantrum because you can't sit at the adult table. The adult table, I repeated. Right, the table I'm buying but not allowed to sit at? Dad stood up. Emma, that's enough. We're grateful for your help. We are. But we're also allowed to make decisions about our own holiday celebrations. Now, are you going to help your sister or not? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At the man who used to lift me onto his shoulders at parades, who taught me to ride a bike, who promised he'd always protect me. When had he stopped seeing me as a daughter and started seeing me as a checkbook? No, I said. I'm not. I grabbed my coat and walked out. Behind me, Ashley was already yelling about how dramatic I was, how I always had to make everything about me. Mom called my name once, twice, but I didn't turn around. In my car, I sat with my hands on the steering wheel and stared at the house. The house I'd been paying for. The house I was no longer welcome in for Thanksgiving. My phone buzzed. Ashley. Real mature, Emma. Then Jake. Way to ruin a family moment. Then Mom. We'll talk when you've calmed down. I drove home in silence. My apartment felt very empty that night. I ordered Chinese food and sat on my couch, eating directly from the containers because there was no one there to judge me, no one to tell me to use a plate like a civilized person. At 10 p.m., my phone rang. Mom. Emma, honey, I think we all got a little heated tonight. Maybe we can find a compromise. What if we scaled back the catering? Made it 3,000 instead of 5? Would that help? Mom, I'm not paying anything for a Thanksgiving I'm not invited to. You're being so stubborn about this. It's one holiday, one day. It's not about the day, I said. It's about what it means. What does it mean, Emma? Enlighten me. It means you value my money more than my presence. She was quiet for a long moment. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time any of you asked about my life? My job? My anything? Every conversation is about what you need, what's going wrong, what I can fix. We're your family, Mom said, and her voice had gone cold. Family helps each other. Does it? Because it seems like the help only flows one direction. You know what, Emma? Fine. Don't help. We'll figure it out ourselves, we always do. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, my Chinese food going cold on the coffee table. They'd figure it out themselves, the way they'd figured out the mortgage themselves, the utilities, the property taxes due next month. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Every conversation replayed itself. Every time I'd said yes when I wanted to say no. Every time I'd transferred money because it was easier than arguing. Every time I'd swallowed my own needs because someone else's were apparently more pressing. By 3 a.m., I'd made a decision. By 4 a.m., I'd started a list. By 6 a.m., when my alarm went off, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I called in sick to work. I'd never called in sick before, not in 5 years at the firm. Then I got dressed, grabbed my laptop and my file folders, and I started making calls. First call, my bank. I need to discuss some accounts that I'm listed on. The representative was helpful. Too helpful. She clearly dealt with family financial drama regularly. So you're listed as the account holder on your parents' checking account? Yes. And you want to remove yourself? Yes. I'll need to verify some information first. It took 45 minutes. Forms, security questions, confirmations. But finally, all right, Miss Patterson, you've been removed from the account. Any automatic payments linked to your personal accounts will need to be canceled on your end. Second call, the mortgage company. This one was trickier. I wasn't on the deed, just the mortgage. My name, my credit, my responsibility if they defaulted. I need to discuss my options for a mortgage I'm listed on, but don't own the property for. The loan officer sighed. She'd heard this story before too. Unfortunately, if you're a co-signer, you can't just remove yourself. The other parties would need to refinance in their own names. And if they can't, then you remain responsible for the debt. Perfect. What if I stopped making payments? Another sigh. The loan would default. Their credit would be destroyed. Yours too. The bank would foreclose eventually. How long does that take? Months. Many months. Sometimes over a year, depending on state laws and court backlogs. And if I made one final payment, then stopped, giving them notice, they'd have whatever time it took for the foreclosure process. But Miss Patterson, I strongly advise. Thank you, I said, and hung up. Third call. My parents' utility companies. I had the account numbers memorized. I'd been paying them long enough. Electric. I need to remove my card from this account. Certainly. Do you want to add a different payment method? No. Just remove mine. Gas. Same conversation. Water. Same conversation. Internet and cable. Same conversation. Each time, the representative asked if I wanted to replace the payment method. Each time, I said no. Each time, I felt a little lighter. Fourth call. My lawyer. Yes, I have a lawyer. I'd hired her 2 years ago when I bought my apartment. She's sharp, practical, and doesn't judge. Kelly? It's Emma Patterson. I need to discuss a complicated family situation. I'm listening. I explained everything. The mortgage, the bills, the Thanksgiving situation. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Emma, I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to get ugly. I know. They're going to be angry. Very angry. They might threaten legal action. Can they sue me? For what? Not paying their bills anymore? No. You have no legal obligation to support your adult family members. The mortgage is stickier, but even there, you're a co-signer, not a co-owner. You can stop paying. It'll hurt your credit if they don't pick up the payments, but that might be worth it to you. It is. Okay. Then here's what I recommend. Document everything. Every payment you've made, every conversation, every text. If this goes to court for any reason, and I doubt it will, but if you want a paper trail showing you were coerced or manipulated. I wasn't coerced, I said. I chose this. Did you? Or did you feel like you didn't have a choice? I thought about that. Maybe both. That's coercion, Emma. Emotional manipulation is still manipulation. Now, when do you want to stop the payments? Immediately. Okay, I'll draft a letter. You'll send it certified mail to all parties involved. Very formal, very legal. It states that as of this date, you're ceasing all financial support. This gives them notice and protects you from any claim that you abandoned them without warning. How long will that take? I can have it done by this afternoon. Do it. By noon, I'd removed myself from every account I could access. By 2 p.m., Kelly emailed me the draft letter. By 3 p.m., I'd approved it, and she'd sent it to be printed and mailed. The letter would arrive in 3 days. Thanksgiving was in 2.5 weeks. I spent the rest of that day organizing my files. Every bank statement showing payments to my parents' accounts. Every Venmo transfer to Ashley or Jake with their urgent captions. Emergency, please, I'll pay you back. They never had. Every email confirmation of bill payments. Every text thread where they'd guilted me into helping. 6 years of data, hundreds of transactions, tens of thousands of dollars. I created a spreadsheet. Date, amount, description, running total. The number at the bottom made me feel sick. $127,492. $127,492. That was my family's price tag. That's what they'd cost me over 6 years. That was a down payment on a house. That was 2 brand new cars. That was investment accounts, retirement savings, vacations I'd never taken, experiences I'd never had because I was too busy keeping them afloat. I saved the spreadsheet, printed it, added it to my files. Then I waited. The first response came faster than I expected. Day 2, 11 a.m. A text from Jake. Hey, my tuition payment got declined? Can you check on that? I didn't respond. 20 minutes later. Emma? Then an hour after that. Did you change your bank info or something? The school is saying the payment didn't go through. I turned my phone face down on my desk. That evening, Ashley called. I let it go to voicemail. Emma, what the fuck? Mom's electric company called and said there's no payment method on file. Did you forget to pay it? Call me back. I deleted the voicemail. Day 3. The certified letters were delivered. I got the confirmation emails at 10:47 a.m. 1 to my parents' house, 1 to Ashley's new place, 1 to Jake's apartment. My phone started ringing at 11:03 a.m. Mom. I silenced it. Then Ashley. Silenced. Then Dad. Silenced. Then Jake. Silenced. Then all of them again, in rotation. At 11:30, the text started. Mom. Emma. Call me immediately. We need to discuss this ridiculous letter. Ashley. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Dad. Emma. This is not acceptable. Call your mother. Jake. Dude, what the hell? This is a joke, right? I made myself a sandwich. Ate it slowly. Watched the texts pile up. Ashley. You're seriously going to screw us over because you're butthurt about Thanksgiving? Mom. Emma Marie Patterson. You call me right now or I'm driving to your apartment. Dad. We raised you better than this. Jake. Come on, Em. This isn't funny anymore. More calls. More texts. My phone buzzed constantly. An angry wasp trapped in a jar. At 2 p.m., someone knocked on my door. Hard. Aggressive. I looked through the peephole. Ashley! She knocked again. Emma, I know you're in there. Open the door. I sat on my couch and waited. She knocked for 5 more minutes, then I heard her footsteps retreating down the hall. A moment later, my phone lit up with another text. Ashley, really mature, hiding in your apartment. Mom's right, you're being a selfish brat. I ordered dinner. Thai food, extra spicy. Ate it while watching a cooking show, my phone buzzing beside me like background music. Day 4. Thanksgiving was in 10 days. The calls and texts had slowed from a flood to a steady trickle. They'd realized I wasn't responding. Mom tried a different approach. Emma, sweetheart, I don't know what's going on with you. If we hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. Please call me so we can talk about this like adults. If we hurt your feelings. Not we're sorry for hurting you. Not we were wrong. If. Ashley sent a long paragraph. I've been thinking about this and I realize you're upset about Thanksgiving. I get it, okay? Maybe we didn't handle that conversation well, but you have to understand, this is a major life event for me. My first holiday in my first house with my fiancé. I want it to be perfect. I want to show David's family that I come from a good family, that I can host beautifully, and having everyone there, packed in, with weird tension because you're mad at everyone. That doesn't help me. I need this day to be special. Why can't you understand that? Why does everything have to be about you? I read it 3 times. Each time, the same phrases jumped out. I want. I need. Why can't you understand that? Not once. I'm sorry we hurt you. Not once. You matter to us. I saved the text. Added it to my files. Day 6. 4 days until Thanksgiving. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Mom. I'd forgotten to silence it the night before. Against my better judgment, I answered. Finally, Mom breathed. Emma, what is going on? You're ignoring us. You sent these crazy letters. You stopped paying bills. Do you have any idea what kind of position you're putting us in? Yes, I said calmly. I do. The mortgage is due in 3 days. Yes, it is. Emma. Her voice shifted, taking on that dangerous edge I remembered from childhood. You fix this right now. I don't know what kind of breakdown you're having, but you fix this. I'm not having a breakdown, Mom. I'm making a decision. A decision? To abandon your family? To leave us drowning? No, I said. A decision to stop drowning with you. That doesn't even make sense, doesn't it? You've been pulling me under for 6 years. I kept swimming, kept keeping us all afloat. But I can't do it anymore. And more importantly, I don't want to. Don't want to? Emma, this is family. You don't get to just decide. Yes, I interrupted. I do. That's exactly what I get to decide. Whether I continue to fund a family that doesn't even want me at Thanksgiving. Silence. Then. So this is about Thanksgiving. Ashley said you were making everything about that. It's not about Thanksgiving. It's about what Thanksgiving showed me, which is that you don't actually want me. You want my bank account. That is not, she stopped. Started again. Emma, you're being incredibly unfair. We love you. We've always loved you. Have you? When's the last time you asked me about my life? My job? My friends? My anything that wasn't related to what I could do for you? Another silence. Longer this time. I ask about you, she said, but her voice was weak. No, you don't. You check in to make sure I'm still able to pay. There's a difference. Emma, I'm done, Mom. I'm done paying your bills, your mortgage, your everything. I'm done being the family ATM. The letters I sent are formal notice. You have time to figure something else out. There is no something else. Your father's credit is ruined. We can't refinance. If you stop paying, we lose the house. Then you lose the house. I heard her inhale sharply. You would do that to your own parents? Put us on the street? You put me outside your family. I'm just returning the favor. Emma Marie, if you don't... I hung up. My hands were shaking. I sat on the edge of my bed and took deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. My therapist's voice in my head. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to protect yourself. I'd been seeing Dr. Morrison for 3 months. She was the one who'd asked me, gently, why I felt responsible for everyone else's choices. Why I believed I had to sacrifice myself to keep them happy. Why I thought love was measured in dollars. I didn't have good answers. Just instinct. Just programming that ran so deep I didn't know where it came from. Family helps family, I'd told her. Does family exploit family? She'd asked back. I hadn't known how to answer that. Now I did. Days 7 and 8 passed in a blur of ignored messages. They'd shifted strategies, cycling through anger, guilt, and bargaining. Ashley, I can't believe you're going to ruin my Thanksgiving over a stupid fight. Jake. Hey, I always thought you were cool. Don't be like this. Dad. Your mother is crying herself to sleep every night. I hope you're proud of yourself. Mom. The mortgage company called. They say payment is due in 2 days. Emma, please don't do this. I turned off my read receipts. Let them wonder if I was even seeing the messages. Day 9. 2 days before Thanksgiving. 1 day before the mortgage payment was due. Kelly called me. Emma, I'm ethically obligated to remind you that if you don't make that mortgage payment, both your parents and you will face serious financial consequences. Your credit score will tank. They could lose the house in foreclosure, which takes time, but is inevitable if they can't make payments. I know, I said. Are you sure about this? I'm sure. Okay, just wanted to confirm. How are you holding up? Honestly? I feel lighter than I have in years. She laughed softly. Good. That's good. Call me if you need anything. That evening, I went to the grocery store. Bought ingredients for Thanksgiving dinner. For one, a small turkey breast, fresh vegetables. A single-serving pumpkin pie from the bakery section. The checker smiled at me. Quiet Thanksgiving this year? She asked. Very quiet, I agreed. And I'm looking forward to it. She rang up my items, and I paid with my own money, for my own food, that only I would eat. It felt revolutionary. Day 10. Thanksgiving Eve. The mortgage payment hadn't been made. I checked the account I'd been removed from. I still had the login information, though I couldn't make transactions anymore. Balance, $247. The payment was $2,100. They didn't have it. They couldn't make it. The payment would bounce. My phone had been relatively quiet all day. Maybe they'd given up. Maybe they'd accepted it. At 4:37 p.m., someone knocked on my door again. This time it was Dad. I could see him through the peephole, looking older than I remembered. Tired. I almost didn't open it. Almost. But I did. He stood there, shoulders slumped, hands in his pockets. Emma, can I come in? I stepped aside. He walked past me, looked around my apartment like he was seeing it for the first time, even though he'd been here before. Twice. Both times to ask for money. Nice place, he said. Thanks. We stood in awkward silence. Finally, he sat on my couch without being invited. I remained standing. Your mother sent me, he said. I figured. She thinks I can get through to you. That, you'll listen to me. Will I? He looked up at me. Really looked at me. I don't know. You used to. When you were little, you'd follow me around the workshop, asking about every tool, every piece of wood. You wanted to understand how things worked, how to build things, how to fix things. I remember, I said quietly. I taught you that fixing things was important. That when something breaks, you don't throw it away. You repair it. Is that what this is? You think our family is broken and I should fix it? Isn't it? I sat down in the chair across from him. Dad, I've been fixing it. For 6 years. I've been the glue holding everything together while you all just kept breaking into smaller and smaller pieces. That's not fair. Isn't it? Your business failed. Did you try to rebuild it? Did you look for other work? Or did you just accept that I'd pay your mortgage forever? His jaw tightened. The construction industry collapsed. It wasn't my fault. I'm not saying it was. I'm saying you gave up. You let me carry everything. We didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. I was standing again, without meaning to. You could have sold the house. Downsized. Found something affordable. You could have declared bankruptcy. You could have done 1,000 things that didn't involve your daughter sacrificing her own future. We couldn't sell. The market was terrible. We would have lost everything. So instead you let me lose everything? My savings, my opportunities, my life? Don't be dramatic. You have a life, a good job, a nice apartment, because I work 80 hours a week to afford both my life and yours. Do you know how many promotions I've turned down because I couldn't take the risk of transition time between positions? How many jobs I didn't apply for because they might pay less at first, even if they'd be better long term? I've been trapped because you've been drowning and I couldn't let go or we'd both go under. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, so you're just going to cut us off? Let us lose everything? I'm going to let you face the consequences of your own choices. Emma, please. The mortgage. Just one more payment. Give us time to figure something out. How much time, Dad? Another month? Another year? Another 6 years? When does it end? We'll pay you back, I swear. Once things turn around. Things aren't going to turn around. Not unless you make them turn around. And you won't, because why would you? I've been your safety net. Your get-out-of-jail-free card. You don't have to fix anything because I'll just keep paying for it. That's not, he stopped, scrubbed a hand over his face. Your mother is going to kill me for asking this, but why? Why now? What changed? I got uninvited from Thanksgiving. He blinked. That's, Emma, that was just Ashley being Ashley. You know how she gets about entertaining. It wasn't personal, it was entirely personal. You told me I couldn't come to a family holiday, but still expected me to pay for it. Do you understand how that felt? You only want me when it's convenient, when there's a bill to pay or a check to write. But when it's time to actually be family, there's no room for me. That's not true. No? When's the last time you called me just to talk, not to ask for money, just to see how I was doing? He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. I don't know. Neither do I. Because it's never happened. Not in 6 years. He looked down at his hands. They were rough, calloused from years of construction work. Now they just looked old. I didn't realize, he said finally. I didn't realize we'd made you feel that way. Didn't you? Or did you just not want to look too closely? He flinched. Emma, I know we've asked a lot of you. Maybe too much. But we're family. Family is supposed to help each other. Help. Not exploit. There's a difference. We weren't exploiting you. Weren't you? You're asking me to pay for a Thanksgiving dinner I'm not invited to attend. What would you call that? He didn't have an answer. We sat in silence. Outside, I could hear traffic, someone's TV through the walls, the normal sounds of life continuing while mine felt suspended. What do you want from me, Emma? He asked finally. What would make this right? I want you to figure out your own problems. I want you to stop expecting me to fix everything. I want to be your daughter, not your bank. You are our daughter. Then treat me like one. He stood up slowly, looked at me with something that might have been regret, might have been just exhaustion. The mortgage payment is due tonight at midnight. If it doesn't go through, we default. I know. You're really not going to make it. I'm really not. He nodded slowly, walked to the door, paused with his hand on the handle. I'm sorry, he said without turning around. I'm sorry we made you feel invisible. Then he left. I stood in my empty apartment and cried, not because I was changing my mind, but because it hurt to finally be seen only when I was walking away. At 11:47 p.m., I got one final text from Mom. Please, Emma, please don't do this to us. At 11:59 p.m., I turned off my phone. At midnight, the mortgage payment bounced. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up to silence. My phone was still off. I made coffee, put a playlist on low, started preparing my small dinner. The turkey breast roasted in the oven. I made mashed potatoes from scratch. Green beans with almonds. The apartment smelled incredible. At noon, I turned my phone back on. 47 missed calls. 63 text messages. I scrolled through them. They followed a predictable pattern. Midnight to 1 a.m. Panic. The payment bounced. Emma, what did you do? Call us immediately. 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Anger. How could you? You've ruined us. We'll never forgive you for this. 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Bargaining. Please, we can fix this. Just one more payment. We'll pay you back, we swear. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Guilt. Your mother is having a breakdown. Dad had to take a sedative. Are you happy now? 10 a.m. to now. Silence. I made myself a plate. Turkey, potatoes, green beans, a small roll. Sat at my table for one. Said a quiet thanks not to anyone in particular, just to the universe for the strength to finally say no. My phone rang. Kelly. Happy Thanksgiving, she said. How are you holding up? Better than I expected, I admitted. Good. I wanted to let you know. I got a call from a lawyer this morning. Your parents hired representation. My stomach dropped. They're suing me? No. The lawyer was feeling out whether you'd be willing to make a settlement payment. Some amount to help them avoid immediate foreclosure. What did you tell them? I told them I'd relay the message to my client, but that my client has been very clear about her boundaries. They asked if you'd be willing to meet. Sit down, talk things through, maybe with a mediator. No, I said immediately. You sure? Sometimes these conversations can... I'm sure. I've been talking to them for 6 years. It hasn't changed anything. This is the only thing they've heard. Okay, I'll relay that. She paused. Emma, you know they're going to play the victim in this, right? To everyone who'll listen. You're going to be the bad guy. I know, and you're okay with that? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yeah, I said finally. I am, because I know the truth. And the truth is, I did everything I could for as long as I could. I'm not the bad guy. I'm just done being the hero. Good answer, Kelly said. Enjoy your dinner. I did. Every bite. It was the best Thanksgiving I'd ever had. That evening, one last text came through. From Ashley. I hope you're happy. Thanksgiving was ruined. David's family was horrified when we had to explain why we couldn't afford catering. Mom and Dad are getting foreclosure notices. Jake had to drop out of school. But sure, Emma. You made your point. You win. I read it, thought about responding. All the things I could say. All the ways I could defend myself. Instead, I just wrote back, this was never about winning. It was about stopping losing. Then I blocked all of them. Blocked Mom, Dad, Ashley, Jake. Every family member who'd taken without ever giving back. My phone was suddenly very quiet. I poured a glass of wine. Sat by my window looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, my family was having whatever Thanksgiving they'd scraped together without my money. Maybe they were blaming me. Probably they were. But I was here, in my apartment that I paid for with money that was mine. Eating food I'd bought. Living a life that was finally, actually mine. Dr. Morrison had asked me once what freedom would look like. This, I thought. This is what freedom looks like. Not easy, not simple, not without cost. But mine. And that was worth everything.